What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I gotta have that Teej pack. Teej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Teej Hanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Teej Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Teej Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a Dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Teej Hanley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a Dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Teej pack. Feel the Teej, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. I appreciate you guys for continuing to do what you do. Q says she need that Rihanna Savage Fenty sponsorship. I'm going to work on that. I promise you. My word is my bond, and I am going to work on that, Q. I believe that you deserve you a Savage Fenty sponsorship. Absolutely. 100%. As Peter Investor is saying, last night's show was lit. Can we all get a round of applause for Q? Can we all get a round of applause for Q? Listen, I know y'all tired of me praising her. I know y'all tired of me bigging her up. I know y'all tired of me highlighting about how talented she is and how awesome she is and her ability to be able to put on phenomenal shows and doing her thing. I know y'all tired, but let me help you to understand something. The praise will not stop because the people that are participating and doing what it is that they do, including Q, let me give Q some credit. She's the mastermind of this thing. So shout out to Q. I also have to give my guy Logic. Shout out to Logic. We appreciate Logic. Adding his unique spin to it. Let me also give a shout out to my dog Quentin. Quentin does what he does on a regular basis, and he does his job effectively. And every single person that appeared on the panel, including Quest, 2K is dope. Shout out to my dog 2K. Litza, Carrie Spencer. Thank you, Carrie. We had somebody that did a little bit of a rage quit last night, but we're going to get into that shortly. But it was an awesome show. Numbers was bigger than any panel show that I've seen thus far. Bigger than any panel show that I've been a part of thus far. Flat out. I called her right after the show and I was telling her about the numbers, like literally minutes, because I could see everything minutes afterwards. And it doesn't update immediately on y'all end, but it update on her end. She killed that shit. week after. I don't even understand how she be topping herself week after week after week after week. She's like Apple stock, just continue to go up. So shout out to Q. I love her. I appreciate her. Um, Weedy said that I got to step in front of the congregation regarding the Montgomery incident. Do I? Do I? I said what I said. I'm gonna read the super chat shortly. I said what I said. I listen. I'm not switching off of that. No. Peter Investor, you said 2,000 plus was watching last night. Y'all got to get the numbers right. It was a lot more than that. Just short of 3,000. All right. More like 26, 2,800 consistently throughout the show. No special effects, no none of that. Just cooking up. So I said what I said when it comes to the whole Alabama thing. Y'all ain't got to agree with me. I don't agree with y'all half the time. I don't agree with half the things that my mother say. Y'all don't have to agree with me. But one thing we are going to do, and see, listen, let me tell you the beautiful thing. Let me tell you the beautiful thing about us all being different and us all having different perspectives and mindset is that it A, makes for great conversation, and then B, we all learn from each other. We all learn from him. Shinsi, I have no idea what you're talking about the Costco girl. Whatever it is that y'all got, send it to me in my email. A Costco girl? I am not familiar with a Costco girl. I still stand on what I stand on. And my position, and it ain't nobody that's going to change my position, is that I'm never, ever, ever putting my woman in a position or advocating for her to ever jump in under any circumstances whatsoever at all. Her job is my daughter. My job is her and my daughter. And I'd rather die than ever let a hair on her head ever be harmed. But we're going to get into that. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. As well as pinned to the top of the chat. I am dropping a Love Dorsey interview after this show. So after this show, I'm dropping a Love Dorsey interview, and that's going to be awesome. In addition to that, on Sunday, I did a live stream in which I reposted it in the Patreon for all of you that may have missed it. And it was a lot more information. It was chock full of information when it comes to my recent build, my real estate investment, my rental property that I'm building. So that may be a little bit boring for some of you that's not actually looking to get the game and the information on how it is that you can level up financially. But it is available because I'm always going to drop the receipts. So I dropped the receipts. I showed y'all the pictures. I showed y'all the money that we spent. Currently, we're at $116,000 cash, no financing, that we're using to build our latest rental property. And so that is available for you guys. When I come back from Japan, I am going to give you some insight, and I'm probably going to restart and update the Build Your Business series. So that's going to be awesome. That's going to be continuously ongoing forever. I'm dropping a Love Dorsey interview, the Fleece Johnson interview. I got the upcoming Eric Mays interview that's being edited right now. So we doing what we do. If you're not a part of the Bag Chasers, if you're not a part of the Patreon, you really need to join. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Furthermore, we got that Teej pack. Shout out to that Teej pack. 30% off your first order plus a free gift. If you are not a part of the Teej family, ladies, buy it for your man. Men, buy it for yourselves. If you are not a part of the Teej Hanley commercial, then the Teej Hanley family, then you need to tap in. Do not use any other links. Make sure you use the link that is in the description, and we're going to run that shit up. All right? What else do we have? Tuesday, August 8th, 2023. Yeah, man. We're going to get into it. So everything I learned over in Tokyo, and I will still be live streaming. So regularly scheduled program. I know y'all think that when the teacher is away, y'all can go ahead and play. Yeah, y'all think y'all going to get out of control and start to be. No, we going to be live streaming from Japan. Millionaire Morning Show. time zone difference, none of that is matter. Y'all have a responsibility to do what you're supposed to do every single day. I am going to do my job and ensure that you get through your morning successfully. But I need y'all to do me a favor. Because I got a full show for y'all today. And we're going to go over what happened last night really quickly. I want to give some thoughts on that. I want to give my final thoughts. I want to talk about truckers, female truckers. I have something that I want to show y'all, a video in which they are struggling. I want to talk about the new UPS deal in which they're paying workers $49 an hour. They successfully, the Teamsters finessed that game. The upcoming UAW potential strike. So a lot of my auto workers and the people that's out here in the streets, a lot of y'all husbands, uncles, all of them, they get into the bag. And so we want to make sure that they safe. I want to go over driverless truckers, then also facing another threat when it comes to the upcoming automation of drivers. And then if we have time, I want to go over a deal in which a woman was able to finesse her real estate company into a $3 million business. She used to be a property manager, and allegedly I haven't watched the video yet. She finessed that into a $3 million company, and she's only 32 years old. So make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel. Bam Bam Lynch says, what time are you going to have to stream to make the same time as normal? I think it's the complete opposite. 10 o'clock at night, 9:45, 10 o'clock p.m. Don't worry, ain't nothing happening outside of the house but the devil at that time. We're going to be streaming at like 9:45 in order to stream at 10:45 a.m. your time, Eastern time. So make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Again, if you have not joined the Patreon, the link is in the description, and I want you to join the Discord that's attached to the Patreon. The link to the Discord is in the description of any of the most recent videos in the Patreon, all right? So let's get to it. Let me read some of the super chats. Shout out to my dog, Mike That Dude, for the early cash app. I appreciate you. Mr. Maximus says, Johnny Major's accuser fled the USA. I know, I heard about that. Don't worry, I'm gonna be tackling that soon. Don't worry about that. I appreciate you. Big 1M Dub says, great morning. Finally, officially a bag chaser. Shout out to you. Shout out to all of the new Patreon members of the Bag Chasers. We appreciate y'all. Without question says, I'm going to give Neo partial credit, but Jamie Foxx is a whole failure. These ninjas need to stand on it. Today's black entertainers in the industry are softer than Sherman. Well, here's the question. What up, 1950? What up, though? Here's the question, though. And I asked this question last night, and it just completely went over everybody's head because nobody was really trying to pay attention to it, right? Here's the question that I have for y'all. How much did they pay y'all in order to sell out your soul? How much did they pay y'all in order to be quiet? We'll get to it. Don't worry about it. Shensi says, I need that reaction on the Costco girl, Anton. And then he said that he sent it to me. Shout out to you. So I'm going to check that out. I'm going to see what that's about, and I'm going to find out what's going on. I have no idea what's happening with Jamie Foxx happening right here. But let's get into it. Again, make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me move that out the way. I'm going to be reading super chats throughout the show. Thoughts from Q's show last night. Let me tell y'all something. I don't be knowing what's going on. I'm a deer in headlights, just like you are a deer in headlights when I jump on the panel in the morning. I'm a deer in headlights, just like you're a deer in headlights when I jump on the panel at night. And it's a thing that I had instituted way back when I was on other panels on Thursday night. But I do the same thing on this one. And so all of the things that I implemented on other shows is the same thing, except for we doing it much, much better on Monday nights, right? And so one of the things that I like to do is I separate responsibilities, and more importantly, I do not. Shout out to my dog, Mr. 1950. I appreciate you. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly, my friend. One of the things that I like to do is I like to separate responsibilities. Now, anybody that has ever worked for me or worked with me, because I consider everybody my partners, not necessarily anybody that works with me. Everybody that works with me know that I am not a micromanager. So when Q says, okay, Anton, go, this is what we doing, this is how we rocking out, I'll be like, all right, cool, whatever it is that you want to do, right? I'm not a micromanager. I trust my people. I trust their judgment. and we gonna ride with whatever it is that they rock with. Now that puts an extra amount of pressure on them and not me in order to deliver. But to be honest with you, I think that she's much better at a lot of this stuff than I am. And that's why I love having the people around. If you are the smartest person in the room at what it is that other people are supposed to be experts in, then you in the wrong room. If you got to micromanage everybody, if you don't know how to delegate effectively, if you don't trust your people, then you need a new group of people around you. If you don't trust your people, you need a new group of people around you. And I trust my people, and they execute and they deliver every single time. So again, I want to give a shout out to Q and everybody that participated on the panel. And again, I have no idea. I came up and I give my authentic thoughts. I don't want to know who's coming on. I just want to continue to rock out, right? So all of this is contributed to her, all right? But I have a couple of thoughts that I want to share from last night. Again, make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and then turn on your notifications. I want to fast forward to a particular part before we really, really deep dive into the show. Let me highlight the super chats because I do want to read the super chats after I go over this. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to fast forward it to a
Quest will be
specific
joining this, and then
mate with the ones that apparently they can't see the vision for, right? So if that be the case, how come women have so much insight after they have a kid instead of before they have the kid?
So me and Carrie is right now having a conversation because, you know me, I believe that at the downfall of every major person or every major kingdom in a lot of instances, are men that's not able to recognize the type of women that they surrounding themselves with, right? And so if you see all of these men in their major downfall, and we were talking about Tory Lanez specifically, me and Carrie were going back and forth about the dynamics between men and women. Shout out to HLC. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. And then something interesting happened. I noticed something.
That's all I'm trying to understand.
They learn more times than not. People learn from their mistakes
through experience.
I really don't. I think it's timing. Like, okay, I'm 40, right? So back, I think that we are in. I say these past 2, 3, maybe 4 years has been more conversation about successful men, valuable men. Women are like being more thoughtful about who they choose and what have you. But for many women who
not struggle streaming within the stream, not struggle streaming within the stream. I'll be trying to figure out the same thing y'all be trying to figure out when y'all come on. I'll be seeing y'all comments. I try not to look at the comments when I'm cooking them on the panel. And y'all was asking the same thing that I was asking last night. Like, what the hell is happening in the lower right-hand corner of the panel? What is going on in the lower right-hand corner of the panel?
Who are of a certain
Logic
age
is cracking up. I'll be trying to hold frame. Q is laughing.
Hold on.
I don't think.
Listen. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna come to you. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Is that a Newport 100?
Yo. The only people, I look over and I look at the bottom right-hand corner and I say, yo, the only people that still smoke Cools and Newport 100s are women that was born before 1965, crackheads that can't get it fixed, or men that's not living their life the right way. People that are living in sin. I'm telling you, the only people that I personally, now this is just my experience. You can't take it away from me. I know what it is that I know. Women that were born before 1965 that can't let go of the habit. Crackheads that still need to get they fix, but they need that little nicotine in them. And men that's sinning and not living their life right. People that ain't got right with God yet. People that ain't got right with God yet. It's Tammy said, Anton, why do you judge us so much? Because it's the truth. We all judge each other. We all look at each other and we making this. That's called being situationally aware. It's called being human. When somebody walks in and they smell like weed, you don't automatically give them the benefit of the doubt. You start judging them and you be thinking to yourself, why are you coming into the job interview? Are you a basehead? Do you have a habit that you can't kick? It's a strong possibility that I'm not going to hire you, because if you're not professional enough to come into the interview not smelling like trees, then you're not professional. If you're not professional enough to put your best foot forward in the beginning, I don't even want to see about what it is that you look like when you get comfortable. When you walk down the street and you see a group of black young men and they all got hoodies on, and if they got a bat in their hand, for some reason, I don't think that you're going to not judge them. You're just going to automatically assume that they just came from the park playing baseball. Are you going to assume that they came from the park playing baseball? Or are you going to make an informed decision and turn the fuck around, either walk across the street or walk back in your house and then run to safety? It's a mechanism that God has built within us in order for us to make informed decisions so that we don't be out here fucked up in these streets. You need to judge. Listen, judge. You have my permission to evaluate the situation that you find yourself in and then make an informed decision. When I see a person smoking Newport 100s and they doing like this with their Newport, one of three things coming to my mind. Crackhead ain't got they fix yet. Woman born before 1965, and you know them aunties ain't, and they ain't no joke. They still smoke them Newport 100s and them cools. Or a grown man that hasn't got his life right yet. Now, here's the other situation. If you find a woman smoking a Black and Mild, oh fuck, you done. Just go ahead and wrap it up. End the discussion. If you find a chick that's smoking a Black and Mild, God bless, good luck. I ain't got nothing for you. All right. Let's continue. Now, I asked, are you smoking? Is that a Newport 100 that you smoking? Yeah. And then, first of all, had they shirt up, had a pink shirt up, got the half bonnet wrap on the back of the head. No, you about to come on a live stream with over 2,000 plus people, possibly 3,000 people watching. Right at the end of the live stream, it was over 35,000 views or something like that. In a 3-hour span, 35,000 views in a 3-hour span. You on there with a bonnet, pink shirt, halter top, shorts, butt cutter shorts, and you got a deep voice. And I'm not supposed to judge. I'm just supposed to be like, I don't see it. Listen, we're all human. Nothing for us to see here. Let's continue. A crop top. That's what it is. A crop top.
Yeah.
And you got a crop top on and you're not built. Yo, who wears a crop top on and they not even sucking their stomach in on a low? What grown man wears a crop top and they not even sucking their stomach in? I'm just evaluating. I'm just an observant. When you be able to look at this stuff in hindsight, you're able to take a more informed decision. In the moment, you're just trying to hold your composure. But let's continue.
She blowed it.
Is that a Newport 100? That's a man.
Yeah. Hey, she need to clean that fish tank.
Hey, told you.
Hey, look,
no, that fish tank is clean.
No, that fish tank look like goddamn fucking Quentin Campbell last episode. That bitch foggy as hell.
Do you want to come and clean it for me?
Oh.
Chill.
Kelly asked you a question, Logic.
Yo, I ain't seen nobody smoke a cigarette in like.
We back, Logic. We back with the bacon smoke.
No, change your camera.
Hey, look. You see Quentin Campbell?
Yeah,
just like a fish tank back there. That shit, hey, what you got goldfish in that fish tank?
No,
I ain't seen a nigga with goldfish since the 90s.
I can't even see the fish. Like
my fish is in the other room. It's only one fish in there, and it's
I can't even see that close.
You got one fish in that big ass fish tank.
Why are you all up in his fish tank?
I'm doing
you can't help but to see
my house. I am doing a like a remodel, so
shit. I'm doing a remodel, y'all. Jesus Christ. Oh, yo, I'm not even gonna cap, y'all. Having people with these alternative lifestyles on these panels is just as fun as having single baby mamas up here trying to tell me how it is that we need to be dating more effectively. Having people with these alternative lifestyles in order to see how they really think, and these are the people that we picking to be our leaders, and they dictating our legislative laws, and they out here slut walking and shit like this. This is a great example of why we need to be bringing these people to the front of the congregation instead of hiding them, so we can show you exactly what the fuck we dealing with. But let's continue.
I'm taking my time.
You doing a bad job.
Well, you come do it then.
Ooh.
You come do it.
Do it, Logic.
Hey, dude.
But, okay,
hey,
I have
hey.
a question.
Wait. Okay, so let me just understand, because I don't be knowing who here until I get here. All right. So you said your name is Kelly?
Yes, my name is Kelly.
And
I'm that bitch.
Huh?
And I'm that bitch.
So introduce themselves as Kelly, and I'm that bitch. Now, what am I supposed to think of this? What am I supposed to think of this? Huh? These are y'all best friends. In this instance, it just so happened to be 2K's best friend. These are y'all best friends. These are the people that y'all love, support, rock with. He was shooting his shot at Logic. And the reason I say he says sometimes he a man and sometimes he a woman. Oh, we'll get there. Don't worry about it. Let's continue.
You that bitch?
Yes.
What does that mean?
All right, so is Kelly okay? Is Kelly a man or a woman?
I identify as trans, but
You see how God was working?
God,
Look at God. Look at God.
look at
The
him.
camera went out.
Won't he
Let
do
me
it?
bring Kelly back. Let me
It's
fast forward a little bit.
transgeneral.
can y'all hear me?
We can hear you, Kelly.
A trans
Okay,
gender,
my
the leader
bad.
of
I
the
had a
trans
phone
section.
call. Okay, so
Yo, hold on, Kelly. I'm gonna come to you 1 second. 2K, I don't worry about you, bro.
No. See, listen.
Don't me.
Wild people. Transgenderals is the leaders of the transsexuals. So, like, they like the ones you gotta salute to when you walking past the rainbow.
What?
So they're a gang now.
The goddamn person. What the fuck?
we've been
No,
again.
y'all
So
just made that
he
up.
a shot caller now.
Hey,
No,
you
I'm
know,
myself.
look, that's my guy, man.
Oh, so this is why they're asking this. So last show we were talking about trans, and we had a trans woman on the last show. So,
No, it wasn't a trans woman. That was a whole nigga.
Yeah, but they go as
Real.
trans woman. They go as trans.
I don't give a fuck.
That's trans
Listen,
woman.
I identify as a white man. Is that cool?
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
If that's what you want to do,
Is that cool for me? I'm just curious. Since we all want to be different things, I identify as a billionaire white man. Is that cool?
if that's what you want to identify as, that's what you want to identify as. Me, I identify as trans. I'm a boy, and I know
y'all do know that our eyes work, right?
Yeah.
So so I'm just curious. Why do y'all be something that y'all like? How do you identify as something that you're not? What? Give me the logic. I'm genuinely trying to understand.
I can tell you that I'm anything, just like you can tell me that you're anything.
No, I can't. I'm just whatever.
So we all playing make believe now. We all playing Halloween. So we a part of Halloween and we playing make believe, right? Is that what we doing? I'm just curious. It don't matter what you think. It don't matter. Listen, I don't care if you identify as a cat with 9 lives. You're not gonna dodge this smoke. If you identify as a cat with 9 lives, you not gonna dodge this smoke. And so since we all playing make-believe, cool. You can play make-believe. I don't care if you want to dress up as a fairy and go to Disneyland. I don't care if you want to wear heels all day. That is your choice. But here's the problem. And I stand on this. 100% stand on it on everything. The problem is then when you try to force me to see you as something that I clearly see is different from what it is that you present yourself as. You're not going to sit here and tell me that we playing make-believe and that I got to substantiate what your belief is. You can't force my eyes to see what you want to pretend that you are, but I'm clearly observant because words mean things. Somebody said, can I identify as God? Yeah. Okay, cool. Listen, you identify as that, so now they have to force you to, you're forced to call them, you got to call Aaron B. God from now on because that's how he identifies. Aaron identifies God. Matter of fact, he said he identifies as Black Jesus. Is that okay? And don't call him Jesus, call him Jesus. You're not going to force me to play make-believe because I live in a real world. What is wrong with this? When did we get to the point to where I have to pretend like you are something that I clearly see that you're not? When did a white man be able to say, you know what, I'm actually identifying as Black, so I want to use the N-word. Is that cool? The only place that people get away with this is with people that are part of the alphabet community and women. Because when I say the word bitch, y'all say that Anton is being harsh on women. I can't believe that he called. But then when he came up here and he said, bad bitch, all I could see, and I'm telling you that I could hear it, it was a bunch of people that was in the chat that was like, yes, honey. So you can call yourself a bitch, but I can't call you a bitch. Or you can say, yes, bitch, and then it means something different than what it is that I intended for it to mean when I called you a bitch, right? What were you doing?
Where it is that I am.
If I can tell you that I am a trans woman and you can tell me that you're a billionaire, I don't think that there's nothing wrong with that.
Besides, it's a lie.
Hold on, y'all. So you don't think there's anything wrong with lying?
I'm not lying because
I'm not a billionaire.
Well, you're lying. I'm not lying.
Do you get offended if somebody misgenders you?
No. Hold on, M. Who? So are you a woman?
Identify as a trans woman, but I know I'm a man and I still have a dick between my legs.
You're fucking Christ.
All right, so we playing dress up. Huh? Okay, wait. I just want to be clear before we get started. So we playing dress up, right?
Oh no. Lord. This is me.
I mean, if it's Halloween every day, I want to know.
I don't dress up.
Honestly,
I dress how I feel.
Curious what the mindset is.
I dress how I feel. If I feel like wearing a dress this day, I'm gonna wear a dress. If I feel like wearing a jogging suit, I'm gonna wear a jogging suit.
So reading that super chat shortly. All right. So
I use whatever bathroom.
What if you decide?
No, that was a serious question. That was a serious question.
Okay, so
I feel like going to the male's bathroom. I'll go to the male's.
How are you here?
Wow.
Wait. You don't think there's anything wrong with using a girl's bathroom?
No.
Why?
Listen, all right. Kelly is not
Look at you. Look, listen. The biggest
I think in a call.
You can't wait to jump in. You know what I realized? It's a lot of men that's defending. It's a lot of men that's defending.
Listen,
a lot of this
did he just say if he feels like being a man, he goes into the man's bathroom. If he feels like being a woman, he goes into the woman's?
Yeah,
that's wild.
That is so wild.
Like, all right, bro. See,
go ahead. Let's let 2K defend it. Go ahead.
Okay,
sorry.
I just let people be who they be. All right, like that's my rule. It don't affect me. But Kelly is not one of the delusional ones who will go up and have an uproar if you call him a guy.
Really.
What we doing, y'all? Is this what y'all rocking with? Is this what y'all support? Is this what we doing out here in these streets now? Whatever it is that you feel at that particular time, I tell you what. How about this? Going forward, if I feel a little bit more in my feminine energy, we all go into the same bathroom. Don't get mad. Don't start feeling a certain type of way. Don't say, but you not dressed different and none of that other type of shit. It don't really matter. I feel what I feel. I'm going to do a social experiment. How about that? How about we do a social experiment? From now on, depending on how you feel, because this is the way in which we operate, right? The men's bathroom will be empty, and we going to be waiting right there in that nasty ass women's bathroom. We all going to be in the same line together. Single file, one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. We all going to wait for the same motherfucking bathroom from now on. How about that? I feel like a little bit different of a person today. And so as a result, I don't want to go to the bathroom with the urinals in it. I feel like standing up, pulling out my motherfucking big ass cock and using it with the door open, especially for the women's bathrooms that's a little bit more raggedy. Y'all know how y'all don't be having the doors open and the stalls be fucking fucked up. And so you can see each other fucking up the toilets and all of that shit. How about this? From now on, I'm peeing with the door open for whatever bathroom that I feel like identifying with at that particular time. How about that? If you just so happen to see a third leg, your fault. Your fault. How about that? No. You think it's cool. You think it's cool, right? When your girlfriend, scratch that. When your wife goes into the bathroom, if I see her and she look bad enough, I may just feel like I want to go use the women's bathroom. How about that? I knew it wasn't making sense because y'all was holding hands the whole time as y'all was walking. You went into the men's bathroom. She went into the women's bathroom. I'm going into the women's bathroom. We gonna wash our hands at the same time. We gonna have a conversation. I'm gonna brush my fucking beard. Yeah. I'm gonna brush my beard while she's fixing her hair. When she squat down, I'm going to just stand up. That's just the difference. No? When you walk your woman to the bathroom, I'm going to make sure that I walk in and I'm going to use the very next stall right next to her. Is that cool? Why y'all getting all bent out of shape now? Why y'all want to send me to jail? I thought that this made sense. You can't tell me how I feel. I'm feeling different. I've been influenced differently now. You sold me. You know how they say, listen, I'm open. You know how these people, whenever they want to get political or they want to get PC, they want to get politically correct, they say, you know what? I'm always open to learning more. I've learned. I understand now. I get it. So now that I get it and I understand more, I want to evaluate and try to test the waters for myself. How about I do a social experiment? I'm going to take my camera and I'm going to go out and I'm going to do the same thing. And we're going to see if there's an uproar. I promise you, before I go over to Japan, I will be filming my social experiment and I will be going with whatever bathroom that I feel like I identify as at that particular time. Cool? And no. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Without question, I have unlearned and been re-educated. I have unlearned at 41 years old and been re-educated. We all going in the same stall. And here's the thing. When I go in, I'm not looking under. I'm just going to knock. If you in there and I knock, I want to make sure that you're going to be hey, you done in there? I'm waiting for the stall. You've been in there for a while. Ma'am. Excuse me. Oh yeah, I know y'all like to talk a little bit. Bitch, you done in there, bitch? Ain't that what y'all say to yourselves? I'm knocking on the door. You better have it locked tight or it's gonna bust open, and I don't want to hear nothing from you. Hey, you done in there? Because I've been waiting for a long time, and I gotta piss. I'm sorry. I gotta pee. I have to urinate. Girl, you in there blowing it up. That's crazy. Don't come in there trying to save your chick because you don't identify as that. You are masculine. Girl, you in there fucking that stall up. What'd you eat last night? No, this is how y'all want to do it. No? Y'all don't want to play this game? You want to go down this rabbit hole? Hey, what you eat? You in there, girl, you smell like something is rotten in your fucking stomach. Yo. And then I'm gonna walk out there out the bathroom like this. Yo, it's crazy in stall 3. It's crazy in stall fucking 3. And I'm gonna just wash my hands for the next 5 minutes because I know you waiting for me to leave because you don't want me to know it's you in there. So I'm gonna wash my hands for 5 minutes. I'm gonna wash my hands till my shit start getting wrinkled. And when you come out and you go to wash your hands, I'm gonna ask you, you good in there, sis? Yo, sis, you good? I thought something was wrong. I thought you was sick in there. You good, sis? I'm going to just walk the fuck out. I'm going to walk the fuck out. And I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear nothing from nobody. When I go in, listen, when I go in y'all bathroom, I'm not even going to pull a seat up because I know that I feel a certain type of way, so I'm using that motherfucking bathroom, and I'm going to piss on the toilet seat. How about that? If I miss, I'm going to aim right, but if I miss, I miss. If I miss, I miss. We don't got no urinals in there. We don't got no urinals in there. If I miss, I miss. If I just hit the seat, whoosh, we just washing the seat down. New rules. New rules. New motherfucking rules. I'm joining the women's boxing league. I'm using y'all bathrooms. I'm pissing on your toilets, and I'm washing my hands next to you, waiting. And I'm gonna come in and, hey, sis, you good in there? Don't worry about it. I'll wait for you to make sure you come out all right. All right, this is what y'all want, right? We gonna see. So that was my thoughts. Light thoughts for what's going on. Since we all doing what the fuck we want to do, depending on what it is that we feel like, let's just go ahead and go full throttle. Make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read these super chats. Mr. 1950, my guy's in the building, says, congratulations, my brother, on a 200,000 on the Anton Daniels subs on the other channel. Nothing but respect. Shout out to my dog, Mr. 1950. I'm going to ask him if he want to go in here and bang on stalls with me. Do the social experiment. Y'all going to have to sign a waiver. I don't want you saying, if you can't get a good lawyer, that's on you. Jamal Fowler says, I told my mother about your reaction video that you did yesterday. I'm waiting on her reaction. Shout out to Ma Dukes. HLC Jr. is in the building. Thank you for the 20 ball. I appreciate you, my friend. Chris Reed. You ain't no Killer J Reed. Shout out to Chris Reed. I appreciate you. Thank you for everybody that's contributing into the platform. Let's continue. I want to get to the money because there was a lot of money that I wanted to talk about yesterday, and I appreciate everybody. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chats. It was a lot of money that I wanted to talk about yesterday, but more information and more news came out today. So I want to tackle something specifically. All right, let's talk about it, y'all. I know a lot of y'all work a lot of different jobs. Some of y'all are in logistics. Some of y'all is in the office and you focused on what it is that you're doing right now. We got a lot of truckers that's over the road. Yeah. We got a lot of truckers over the road. We got a lot of people that's working for auto manufacturers, that's working for, that's a part of the union, UAW, UPS. I want to go ahead and break things down as based off of what's going on at the negotiating table because this used to be a big deal for us over here in Detroit. This used to be a big deal. Negotiating pensions, raises, tiers as far as the different workers that's coming in, whether or not you were going to get hired in, right? Pay raises, A plan, how many people you can have on your A plan, Z plans, and all of this other type of stuff, right? All of these people are going to be affected. I want to start with the UAW.
The United Auto Workers Union is presenting its economic demands to automakers this week. Now, these talks come as the expiration date for the current contracts nears and the threat of one or more strikes looms. The UAW's demands include double-digit pay raises, defined benefit pensions for all employees, and restricting the use of temporary workers. These also include increasing paid time off and implementing a 32-hour work week.
Now, as we get into this, here's the question that I want to ask you guys, and I want you guys to really, really try to think through this. Think through it from both perspectives, from both the company and management's perspective and also the workers' perspective. Let's go through the gains, or let's go through the demands. UAW economic demands. Okay, I want to look at it from both sides because I want to be reasonable. First demand, double-digit pay raises. Is that double-digit percentage-wise, or is that double-digit when it comes to the amount of money that you making specifically per hour? Double-digit percentage-wise, 10%, 11%, 12%, 20%, right? I know that a lot of you guys is making somewhere around $30, $32 an hour. Is that double-digit percentage-wise, or is that double-digit when it comes to the actual number, right? So let's break it down. Let's say you got a 10% pay raise annually because you want to beat the rate of inflation. The rate of inflation has always been hovering around 9 to 10%, 7.5%, depending on which month you're talking about after the pandemic, right? And 10% of about $30, $32 is another $3, right? So that's really $35, $36 an hour at that point. It used to be to where if you worked for the big three or one of the big auto manufacturers, you was at the top of the totem pole as far as the earnings. Now it's gotten to the point to where with inflation and trying to save money and in a recession, post-pandemic, that everything has been automated and that you guys are very much just basically in the middle of the pack, especially if you're not working overtime. But let's continue. Defined pension benefits. Now, again, let's go back to the double-digit pay raises. Double-digit pay raises, are they talking about the amount of dollars that you make, right? Because the amount of dollars, let's say you're getting an extra $10, $15 an hour, that literally adds another 50%, 40 to 50% in cost when it comes to payroll for employees. Cost when it comes to the payrolls for employees. Now, one of the problems that a lot of these people often make, especially when they come into the negotiating table, is that they say, but the CEO made $50 million last year. Well, the CEO is not literally making $50 million. Their compensation is tied to their performance. So they have the base rate, right, which is often at times less than $1 million a year. And then they have stock options that don't vest. And so their performance is largely tied to however well the company do, especially when it comes to their stock. And so they're incentivized to increase the value of the company that ultimately add value into the shareholders' pockets. And so as the company goes, their compensation goes also. Shout out to Christopher Reed. I'm definitely going to be reading that super chat shortly. Defined pension benefits for all employees. Pensions are going away. Pensions are going away. Automakers and every other company in the world is going away from pensions. Similar to the bankruptcy that was tied to the Yellow Corporation, in which the guy was complaining about the fact that he had worked there 30 plus years and then he no longer had a pension. What companies are trying to do in order to cut costs while actually still incentivizing you, and this has been around for an extended period of time, so this is not new news, and also incentivize you in order to invest in yourself, is they say that we'll match up to a certain amount. Usually it's about 6%, right? We'll match up to 6%, 50% of your contribution, or we'll add a 50% contribution up to 6% of whatever your pay is. And so they're incentivizing you to save for yourself, and then they'll add a couple little bonuses on top of it, and it prevents them from having legacy costs, right? Because then you got to rob Peter to pay Paul, similar to how we got going on inside of the Social Security system, right? They said they want to restrict the use of temporary workers. So now they're basically saying if you're not a part of the union, then we don't want people coming in and taking over our jobs. Jobs are the thing that union members, and it's funny because me and Eric Mays had this conversation over there on Don't Do Coke in the Bathroom couch, and they're basically saying, listen, we don't want anybody in here doing the jobs that union members are supposed to be doing the jobs, no matter what it is. We don't care if they're cleaning the bathrooms. We don't care if they're lifting transmissions. We don't care if they bolting in the screw. Everybody deserves to make $42, $45 an hour. A, that's because they pay into the union rolls. And then B, they can then basically take the cushy job and then advocate for seniority for when it comes to overtime and doing whatever it is job, right? So basically they want to squeeze the company for whatever it is that they have in order to continue to increase how much they're paying because they feel like they're worth it. It's not enough to just get profit sharing checks anymore. Remember when profit sharing checks was a big deal? Remember when the company would do well for a particular year or a particular quarter or whatever like that, and you get them profit sharing checks? I remember some of those years they was getting like 10 grand, 8 grand. Chrysler always got the least amount. Ford was right there above Chrysler, and then GM was getting the biggest profit sharing checks. Remember that? That means that the company's performance was largely tied to how well you do as an employee. So everybody had some skin in the game, similar to how the CEO has skin in the game, right? But they're basically saying we want to restrict the use of temporary workers. They want to increase paid time off. Basically, they want more days off to get paid. And then they want to go over there and they want to become Europeans. They said we want 32-hour work weeks. Now, all of the first demands, I could rock with that. You got to start off with something that's big and then try to meet somewhere in the middle, especially since the companies have been so profitable over the number of years that they've been profitable since the recession, right? The one problem that I have is this 32-hour work week thing. What the fuck are y'all thinking? Of all the possible demands and the fact that where people are struggling, the cost of living is going up. I understand you want pay raises. I understand that you want to make more money. I think that you deserve to make more money and you should stand in solidarity for it. But what the fuck is this 32-hour work week thing? I don't understand it. Vladimir says, Anton, you're well versed in this. I used to work for Chrysler and you're right on point. Oh, I know my business. I know the automotive sector. And this is another reason. Let me add another caveat into this. Before I play the rest of the video, let me add another caveat into this, because one thing that I teach inside of the Patreon is that you have to intimately understand all the intricate details of a company before you invest in it. It's not enough to just look at whether or not it's a dividend company. It's not enough to just look at the leadership. It's not enough to just look at what you project the stock to be. It's not enough to day trade. It's not enough all of that. You need to understand the upcoming contract negotiations. You need to understand automation, artificial intelligence. You need to understand how things are changing when it comes to them trying to become a technology and software company instead of becoming a manufacturing company. You need to understand how it is that they're contracting, that they're aligning with each other in order to build the infrastructure to move over into electric vehicles, how ICE vehicles, which is internal combustion engines, are largely going to go away. How is that going to affect jobs? Tesla is starting to innovate even more when it comes to the frame and building an entire frame so that they have to have less manufacturers. How is that going to also factor into suppliers? They're going to need less suppliers because they have to have less parts in order to build the same cars, and then they can sell the same cars at more of a profit because all they have to do is send a software update if you decide to get a different package for that particular car, right? It's a lot of factors that go into whether or not these automakers are going to be profitable and then what their competition is going to look like long-term into the future, right? I'll give you an example. The margins that Tesla make on their cars, which the Model Y is the #1 selling car in the world right now, is much higher than the margin of internal combustion engines and traditional automakers because they have less parts. They're more focused as a software company. They're a technology company, and this is something that legacy automakers are starting to pivot into, but it's difficult for them because they have to educate the consumer as to why it is that they should or should not switch over into an electric vehicle from an internal combustion engine. Also, sourcing parts. How is it that they're going to be affected when it comes to China? What role does India play in this, right? Semiconductor chip shortage. We've seen this during the pandemic. And see, these are a lot of the things that a lot of these automakers or the people that are on the floor making the vehicles are not taking into consideration because they're not educated enough in order to make an informed decision of whether they should vote nay or yay on the upcoming contract and what their demand should be. And so it's similar to how it is that we vote in these national elections. You just go up to the polls, you read something that you don't understand, you just go ahead and vote all Democrat or all Republican because you're not truly educated on what it is that you're negotiating for at the table. And so you lose a lot because you operate out of ignorance instead of operating in understanding so that you can better be informed as a worker and how you're going to be affected based off of what's coming in the future, right? Let's continue.
Chrysler parent Stellantis, General Motors, and Ford, known widely as the Detroit Three, are on the receiving end of these demands. All say that they have good relationships with the union and provide the best wages and benefits in the auto industry. Joining us now is Brian Rothenberg. He is a partner for strategic communications firm Triumph Communications and has been following these negotiations. So, Brian, tell us, how realistic are the demands being made by the UAW?
Well, they're always realistic because the workers want to demand it. The process is they actually have they elect local delegates who go and set these demands back in March. And then they have local negotiators who put these demands on.
I said put the TJ on because the lights ain't high enough and Anton is cooking and giving y'all all of this information. See, sometimes like yesterday, I hold y'all accountable. Times like today, I try to give you the information so that you can make a more informed decision on where it is that you need to invest your time, your money, and even what you need to invest in yourself to combat the possibility of you getting laid off or being affected by what happens in the future as far as the decisions when they decide to cut jobs and they don't have enough people to take buyouts. Come on, y'all. Let's get the likes up. We working today.
What's different, Lana, is in this case, the UAW has decided to make the demands public. Usually they don't do that. They don't do it for a couple reasons, although the world is changing. The first reason is you never know what you're going to wind up getting because it is a negotiation. And the second reason is you don't want to build up expectations because ultimately these contracts are voted on by the membership.
And this is why Clips 914 is off. He says, I'm 100% positive that the union workers have lawyers on their side, negotiating in their best interest. There's no way that they're uneducated. You saying there's no way that the lawyers are uneducated. You didn't say that there's no way that the people are uneducated because just because you assume that somebody is working in your best interest, how do they know what your best interests are if you're uneducated as to what it is that's going on within the industry and how it is that your company works? You depending on somebody else to give you insight and information on what's in your best interest instead of you being able to explain to them what you want so that they can then, because all a lawyer is a representation of you. How do they know what's in your best interest when they don't know you? When you're not educated as to what it is that's happening and how the industry is going to transform within the next 10 to 15 years. I remember guys from the 80s and the 90s used to do it and they negotiated based off of what it is that they expected for their kids to be able to have because they expected to get their kids in the plant. Well, guess what? The industry changed so much that it was difficult for you to be able to get your kid into the plant because the layoffs was about to happen in 2008 and nobody's seen it coming because of the housing industry and nobody can afford cars anymore, right? So just because you have somebody that is negotiating on your best interest don't mean that you're educated enough in order to be able to ratify the contract because the majority of the membership have to go and vote of whether or not they actually want to ratify what was negotiated by the lawyers and the leadership within the UAW. So you have to be informed in every single thing that you do. If you get an accountant, you can trust them. But it doesn't mean that they have your best interest at heart. And that's why fucking Steve Harvey owed a bunch of money because you have to understand what it is that they're doing just as much as they're doing it. They're still human. They're still fallible. Let's continue.
And they can vote it up or down no matter what contract you come up with.
Brian, it's interesting both that the big three say that they have really good relationships with the unions right now, but also because they're in, it looks like, a particularly good economic position. The Detroit Three raked in more than $20 billion in profits in the first half of this year. Now, are these immense profits driving these economic demands from workers? Are there other factors? Do they seem like they are more likely, or the UAW in this case, to...
What companies tend to do during the negotiating process is that they say, listen, we want to take care of our workers, but at the same time, y'all have to understand the headwinds that we're facing. We're facing stiffer competition. There's more car companies. We've got more technology companies coming in. The prices is high. we're transitioning, so we have to invest over $100 billion into building infrastructure, and we got to transition over into electric vehicles, and it's going to cost this much. And so if you want your plant to get more work, which means that you'll still be able to work here instead of either having to move or taking a buyout, then I need you to ratify this contract based off of this negotiated term. Or what we'll do is we'll move jobs over to Canada, or we'll move jobs over to Mexico, or we'll move jobs over to India. And so when we say save the American dream, that's the slogan that the UAW is using in order to have their negotiating position ratified, in order to rile up the troops, in order to get enough votes to ratify whatever contract that they negotiate. What position are you in as a worker to be able to negotiate the best contract that's in your best interest, your family's best interest, and in the future of the company's best interest? Let's continue a little bit. And then I want to pivot over to something else really quick.
Because they're sitting on such a pile of money.
They're actually not.
I think they are likely to get some of these.
And they are going to get a ratification, but they're not sitting on a pile of money, because a lot of these companies are still holding on to debt in order to make sure that they can weather any kind of storm or recession that could possibly come their way, which is one of the reasons why Chrysler and GM went bankrupt, is because Ford literally mortgaged every single thing and leveraged debt in order to survive through the 2008 recession before it hit, and their credit rating took a hit, right? They even mortgaged the Ford logo in order to survive, whereas Chrysler and GM, they went bankrupt and then they had to get a government bailout. And so a lot of these companies carry an immense amount of debt. You take Disney, for example. One of the things that's crumbling for Disney is the fact that they have to make these massive debt and interest payments. Even if their company is making money, it doesn't overshadow the amount of money that they're losing when it comes to holding on to the debt that they had to take on as a result of having to buy Fox, right? Let me pivot for a minute. So let's switch over into UPS, okay? Let me give y'all some insight on what's going over on UPS.
After months of negotiations, UPS and the International Brotherhood of Teamsters reaching a handshake agreement for a new 5-year deal. Now, this includes pay increases. It also lays the groundwork for increased weekend deliveries, even potentially, although UPS hasn't announced this, potentially Sunday deliveries with the creation of a new weekend driver job. Now, UPS saying its, quote, goal has been to reward the company's employees for their contributions to the success while enabling the business to remain flexible to meet its customer needs. Each of these goals have been met in the new agreement, adding it's well-positioned to grow and meet the needs of its customers. Now, this tentative deal, covering roughly 250,000 workers, mostly drivers and package handlers, but it makes it one of the biggest collective bargaining agreements in the U.S. Now, keep in mind, we still have some details that need to be worked out. The two parties are also still negotiating an agreement for about 11,000 UPS freight employees, which the company says it's, quote, confident will happen. And then the agreement has to get ratified by employees. But this, if and when it does get approved, will mean that we're thwarting at UPS the potential for a strike, which, if that had gotten to that point, would have been the first in decades. We'll take a look at shares of UPS. They are off the highs of the day, but still.
Now, why are UPS shares off, right? Allegedly, they're in a position to where they're basically going to be paying their workers almost $50 an hour. $49.50, $50 an hour. That's pretty much what the sentiment is that their workers are going to be making close to $50 an hour. But then the company also, as they reached a tentative agreement, which has to be voted on by the Teamsters Union, in which I believe that they're going to ratify the deal, and they have to do it within a specific time, or else they're going to strike and then mess up the profit margins of the company, disrupt logistics, so on and so forth, right? And the interesting thing about it is that the shares are down because the company just reported an adjusted income of $2.2 billion for the quarter, which is basically down 24% from a year earlier, but it's slightly better than the estimate of the analysts surveyed. And basically revenue has fallen by about 11% to $22.1 billion, which is not gross profit. So what is Anton saying? They're saying that the amount of money that they're going to be able to generate and compete with as a company is going to fall significantly because of the additional costs that it takes in order to give these people pay raises. And then the shareholders are going to be the ones that suffer for it, which is one of the reasons why the stock price is down. Let me say that one more time. The stock price is down because the profit margin is going to be lower based off of the fact that they have to pay their workers more. And so the shareholders are going to be the ones that suffer from a financial perspective as a result of it. Let me tell you what else is going to happen. Prices are going to go up. Your costs to have to be able to, because the price has to be passed on to the consumer. It has to be passed on down to the consumer. So the consumers are now going to be the ones that shoulder the burden of paying the workers extra money, because the company is always going to try to have the shareholders' best interests at heart. They have to try to lower costs some ways, right? How can they lower costs? Well, it's a lot of different ways you can lower costs. You can move away from internal combustion engines, regular gas cars, which would then affect what it is that you're putting together on the UAW side. So it's all interconnected. It's all a trickle-down effect. Don't you guys know, and I'm going to give you a little bit of game, and I don't know if you've ever really taken this into consideration. All of the money really goes back to the government. The only people that really win are rich people. You guys think that you are negotiating for a better position and a higher wage, and ultimately it all goes back to us and the federal government. This is something that they never taught you in school, but I'm going to teach you today. The money is overly taxed over and over. Every time that money passes hands, the government has to get a cut of it. Every time that you sell a product, the government has to get a cut. They get their cut in property taxes. They get their cut in payroll taxes. They get their cut when it comes to sales taxes. And this is why taxes are so egregious, and that governments are okay with mismanaging money, because they're basically passing money to money. And every time money exchange hands, the government gets a larger cut of that money until eventually they get it more, and then you have to trade in your time for money in order to recirculate the dollar. I looked at a house yesterday in Michigan. And the house, I don't remember what it was. It was like $2-3 million. I don't even remember, right? So I'm looking at a house yesterday. But see, one of the things that people don't pay attention to when they're looking at homes, I found out who was building that home, that massive fucking castle. I think it's going to be like the second biggest home in Michigan or something like that. I think it's the owner of the Phoenix Suns, the United Warehouse Mortgage. He was actually graduated from Michigan State. He still lives here in Michigan. And it's like a fucking castle, right? And I was looking at the property taxes for some of the houses that was around it, and it was ranging anywhere from 1.5 of the smaller houses to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 million. And I looked at one house in particular, and you don't evaluate whether or not you're gonna buy the house based off of how much it costs entirely. One of the things that people don't pay attention to when they're purchasing homes is the property taxes, right? So let's say I buy a house for 3, 4, 5, 6 million. The house that I looked at yesterday, the property taxes every single year was the equivalent of about $89,000 a year. The property taxes, the yearly property taxes was $89,000 a year. That means for those of you that believe in owning real estate, because the way I teach real estate is that I don't own the house that I live in or the place that I live in. I rent out the place that I own. All of the places that I own, I have to rent it out, right? And here's the caveat to it. Let's say you stay in this house for the next 10 years. Now, you know that the property taxes are going to continue to raise because the value of the property is going to go up. But let's say that you stay in a house for the next 10 years. You're projected to pay in 10 years, not including maintenance, not including utilities, not including repairs, just in property taxes for a multi-million-dollar home, you're going to spend the equivalent of about $1 million in 10 years in property taxes. In property taxes. The majority of property taxes then go over into the county and to the schools. So what am I telling you? Is that the true cost of ownership is more expensive than we're really understanding it, because we don't understand taxes. We don't understand how money works, and we don't understand that the government eventually is always going to get 100% of their cut. Over 10 years, you're going to pay the equivalent of close to $1 million in property taxes on a few $1 million valued home. And then here's the caveat. Again, true cost of ownership. Let's say you go and buy a house. Let's say you buy a $300,000-$400,000 house. Let's say you buy a $250,000 house. You put 20% down, right? And so now you got a $200,000 mortgage. By the time that you pay it over 30 years, you more than tripled the cost that you paid for it. That's not even including the maintenance, property taxes, or anything like that, right? Because they want to tell you that owning is better than renting. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, depending on how it is that you understand money and how it is that you can make it work in your favor. That's why you need to tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. But here's the caveat to it. Not only did you pay more than three times what that house was worth when you paid for it, when you go to sell it, depending on how quickly you can sell it, if you don't 1031 it, 1031 is basically taking the profits and then moving it into another entity so that you don't have to pay taxes for it. You then have to pay sales taxes, and you got to pay capital gains if you make any money from it, depending on when you sell it, and you have to pay over in real estate fees that 3 to 6% every single time that thing is sold. And then you got the money that you paying for it every day, you then get taxed on it depending on what tax bracket you in. Let's say that you make over $100,000 a year. Then you bring it home $67,000 a year because you're in a 22% tax bracket. You don't have the write-offs. You don't understand the money. You don't understand how things work. You then have to pay for insurance. And you got to hope a motherfucker don't come in your neighborhood and fuck up the property values. You get taxed on the money that you then have to spend in order to pay taxes on the money that you have to spend in order to maintain a lifestyle to live in a place that you then have to pay taxes on if you get rid of it. Yes, $89,000 a year was the property taxes for the home that I looked at yesterday. That shit was like, what? What? I'm paying over $7,000 a month in property taxes alone? So, all I'm telling you guys is pay attention to how money works, because ultimately, if you don't, you will truly be the one that pay the price for it, because the true cost of ignorance is money leaving your pocket. The true cost of ignorance is money leaving your pocket. I even talked about in my latest Patreon live stream that I did on Sunday that I reposted for everybody about what my long-term strategy is as far as solving for the housing crisis within our communities or within my communities, and what my long-term strategy is after I've learned everything I need to learn when it comes to the building process. I broke down what my margins are, how my margins are going to be much higher than what it is that I can get in return for the markets. We talk about all of this. We talking about all of this inside of the Bag Chasers. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let me read a couple of these super chats and then we're going to move over into the next thing, because this is an information-filled show today. I want y'all to get this work. I want y'all to start thinking differently about money. I want y'all to start looking at how it is that you can leverage your assets in order to maintain your lifestyle instead of being a slave for the rest of your life until you don't have anything left at the end of your journey. Let me read a few of these super chats and then we're going to move on. Chris Reed is in the building. Shout out to Chris. Says, how can I contact you in private? I want to show you Poland. I'm military, but I also do real estate. I have a few questions if possible. When available, send me an email. Anton Daniels 413@gmail.com is my email address. Or if you're a bag chaser in the Patreon, I prioritize those first. Send me a message inside of the Patreon, and then I'll be reading that, and I'll be reading whatever it is that you sent to me. Thank you, my friend Christopher Reed. I appreciate you. Jay Hub says they are showing how outrageous their demands are in order to lay them off without public outrage. And eventually they will be the first on the chopping block. But that's a conversation for a different day. Thank you, Jay Hub. I appreciate you. DeJuan Alford says, what up, though, Anton? Peace to the world. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. Big Suggs. Shout out to Big Suggs. You're in the building for the 3-ball. I appreciate you also. Yo says 32-hour work week. Wife and I are trying to do more. I'm never going to work 32 hours. I'm always going to be working at least 60, 70, 80 hours every week. That's just who I am, right? I think that the value that I can extract is largely going to come from my ability to be able to beat y'all with work ethic. I take work ethic over talent any day of the week. Shout out to you. Let me go ahead and get into the next thing. My truckers, my ladies, it's hard out here for a pimp. It's hard out here for the ladies right now. I hear y'all. I hear your cries. These alphabet community people are kicking y'all ass in y'all sports. They walking in and they using y'all bathrooms. Y'all say that black men don't like y'all and they don't want y'all and they continue to be passport bros. Every time y'all go down to Houston, you come back with a disease. You thought that you was going to move to Atlanta because it was the black Mecca, and then you found out that that was a piece of shit too. Y'all ran from Chicago thinking that Lori Lightfoot was the truth, but y'all voted her in based off of her sexuality and the fact that she looked like Beetlejuice. I know it's hard out here. It's hard out here for a pimp when you're trying to get that money for the rent. It's hard. I feel you, baby girl. It's fucked up out here. It's fucked up out here. I feel you. And I know that it was a lot of gurus out here in these streets, and they were selling y'all on the idea that y'all needed to go and buy your own truck. You needed to go out and buy your own truck. Where is all of the videos that was supposed to be popping up of trying to convince y'all to go get y'all a new truck? Get in the trucking. Get in the trucking. Choo, 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 choo. Oh, that's a train. My bad. Get in the trucking. Where are all of the gurus? Where is all of the videos that was happening with all of the people that was selling y'all on the idea that y'all need? Now, I'm not saying that trucking is a bad field because it can be good. It can be lucrative for you if you understand it and if you really got the chops to be able to deal with it. But it's hard out here for a pimp when you try to get the money for the rent.
At the height of the pandemic, as supply chains snarled, truckers provided vital lifelines to the nation. But now a harsh new reality is setting in for many long haulers. Here's Shannon Pettypiece.
The days start early for Arnisha Barron.
Sometimes I spray a little bit. I do this every day.
Spray that Febreze. Febreze for the trees is in the building. Spray that for. Listen, this. Let me break it down for y'all. For all of y'all that's looking to do what men do, this is your life. Febreze, lot lizards, carpet munchers, scissor kicking when it come to having some little good time. Back hurting, back breaking, trying to put some extra padding in the back of that cab so you can get comfortable because that is your home. Your home is right there in that motherfucking cab. Fellas, tell them. I know it's a lot of truckers that's watching this right now. I see y'all. There's more than 1,600 people in here watching this show right now. My truckers is out here in the building. Tell them. Tell them what life is like on the road. She's sitting there laying in the cab. Windows is rolled up. When she wake up in the morning, y'all didn't know that women poop? Women are nasty in a lot of ways. Y'all really don't. They be hiding it from y'all. But women are nasty in a lot of ways. Did you know that your girl be pooting when you be sleeping? Then they give you that long one. Women are nasty, bro. Keep on spraying Febreze everywhere. Ma'am. Did you know that women's bodies operate similarly to men except for they got to bleed every month in order to get that evil up out of them? Women are nasty, bro. They nasty. Especially if they got that disease down there. Women be doing some wild shit when they men is not there. They just be walking. They don't go to the bathroom every time they got to poop. No, they don't. Go home early, surprise her. Well, now if the mailman ain't in there fucking her face off, then walk in early and just see how she living. Nasty as hell. This is y'all life, except it's going to be in a more compact area in this truck.
Up before 4:30 a.m., readying her 18-wheeler. Today, she's hauling dairy to Chicago, picking up in Virginia's Shenandoah Valley. That's where I joined her.
Wow. Roomy in here.
My refrigerator is right here.
And a
See?
little microwave.
That's your life.
TV.
How many hours will you drive in a normal week?
70 hours.
Barron is a single mother.
Single mother, small refrigerator, sleeping in the back of the cab, working 70. Carrie said most people pass gas at least 13 times a day. Sheesh. Single mother, driving a truck, 70 hours a week. 70 hours a week. Can y'all imagine busting y'all ass more than a lot of these men out here? Listen, the UAW members is trying to negotiate for 32-hour work weeks. Y'all said we gonna get it how we live. 70 hours a week.
Mother of 3, trucking paid the bills.
My ultimate goal was not to fail my kids. I'm driving, they call me, doing homework, I'm fussing, doing the mom duties while in the truck.
Barron is one of thousands of truckers who have experienced the pandemic highs and now the post-pandemic lows. Initially, pay for truckers surged, with companies desperate to move their goods. After years working as a driver, Barron bought her own truck.
Were you able to make a good living with that truck?
Yeah, I was. I was really doing really well. I was able to pay a lot of stuff off. It was good.
Soon she was bringing in a 6-figure income, but her fortunes didn't last long.
She was bringing in a 6-figure income. 6-figure income. Balling. Ain't that what y'all want? I want a man that make the same amount or more. I need me a high value man. A high value man. That's what, listen, you know why women want to get married so bad? I'm going to tell y'all the honest to God truth. You know why women want to get married so bad? They looking to retire. At the very least, they looking to have a softer life than the shit that they got to deal with. They're looking to have a softer life. It is hard out here for a pimp when you're trying to get the money for the rent. It's hard for these women. They do not want to be on the road for 70 hours trying to parent their kid through the cab of a truck on an iPhone. Hard. She was making 6 figures, though.
Of drivers surged. Demand for goods fell as Americans emerged from lockdown, and shipping rates tumbled.
Were you able to make those monthly payments?
No. Okay. No, so I got behind. Sometimes you will go a week without a check or 2 weeks without a check.
She had to turn her truck back in, losing thousands of dollars. She's now back on the road, leasing a truck from Randy Tim's company.
Well, no. They told you to open up your business. They told you to open up go start your own business, sis. You don't need no man. Fuck him. Go get your money. Go get your money, sis. Run that check up. Truck. Let me tell you what the translation was. They said that the truck got turned in. That's called repossession. It's called repossession. Everybody keep telling you to go open up your own businesses because you's a boss. Get your ass back in this cab.
People got lulled into thinking that somehow this was the way of the world in trucking, and it's just not that way.
15,000 trucking companies, many of them solo drivers like Barron, have had to shut down since October.
Maybe they'd been a company driver before. They went out, buy a truck, trailer, get their own authority. We've seen them park that, come back to companies, just in an effort to make ends meet.
For drivers, making ends meet also means contending with the costs of the road.
Showers, like if you go in there to purchase a shower, it's like $13.
To go and purchase a shower. to go and purchase a shower. Carrie got it. It was a timeline when women was taking pictures in front of their trucks, and now all of those pictures have mysteriously disappeared. All of the pictures when all of these hoes was walking up and it was like this, truck life. All of these pictures have mysteriously disappeared. I wonder where they went. Where did all of the pictures of the women that was taking selfies in front of their truck like this? Where's all of the women that was taking selfies in front of their truck like this? They ain't tell you that they was in there with them niggas having to take them $13 showers. Let's go through the costs.
Laundry's another $6, parking $18. Then there's gas and vehicle maintenance.
Try to save for rainy days, but I had a lot of rainy days. It's very stressful, but you know, you have to wear it with a smile and keep moving.
You're not going to give up on trucking?
No.
What do you think she got else to do? She went from making over 6 figures to less than minimum wage. Over 6 figures to less than minimum wage. What other choice does she have? A lot of people ask me and they say, hey, why should I get a degree? Why should I continue to invest in myself? Why should I go into community college? Why should I have a backup plan? Because you don't want to be relegated to the only thing that you know and then be forced to take what it is that somebody is willing to give you. It's called having options. You know, those things that y'all usually have when y'all out dating and y'all at the best point of y'all life and y'all try to figure out which man I want to take. It's having options. Feel good to have options, ain't it? Don't feel good when you got to turn that truck back in and you're getting all of your cars repossessed, though.
Keep pushing. Like, I'm a pusher. I'm going to keep going because I know that it's going to be a rainbow somewhere.
She living on faith.
Rainbow she keeps chasing 1 mile at a time. Shannon Pettypiece, NBC News, Lyndhurst, Virginia.
She is living on faith. She says, I walk by faith, not by sight. And I know that one day there's going to be a better way at the end of this rainbow. One day it's going to be a whole nother way at the end of this rainbow. Listen. One of the things that I'm keep trying to beat in y'all thick fucking skull, ladies. Don't be offended. Listen to Uncle Anton. I'm going to tell you the truth. One thing that I keep trying to beat in y'all thick fucking skull every single morning, day in, day out. I preach it. I teach it. I live it. I show you. I emphasize it. Y'all are struggling out here. And I keep trying to teach you and beat it into your head that it's not always greener on the other side for whatever it is that you think that you got going on. Some of us is in unique situations. Some of us got different situations. But what I'm trying to tell you is that being a boss bitch ain't really all that it's cut out to be. You know, every day I leave my house, right? And I get down to the studio by 6 a.m. And I was cleaning out my home office yesterday because I'm trying to make sure that everything is together because my brother is going to be staying at my house while I'm over in Japan. And I was cleaning out my office and I seen some nursing books. And so I'm trying to become more of a minimalist. And so I say to Rita, I said, hey, you need these? And she just started laughing like, you can throw those away. And then I left out of the house this morning and I looked at Rita. And as usual, she had stole all of the cover. And so while I was over there like this with my teeth chattering, because I don't have no cover by the end of the night, she's sitting there asleep with no alarm. No alarm. She's sleeping with no alarm. She wakes up when she wants to wake up. She doesn't even close the windows because she looks over the water and then she wakes up and she go, she determines whether or not she want to go back to sleep. And then she have the cleaners coming on Monday morning in order to make sure that the house is clean. It's different. This is your peace. This is the thing that you get when you try to pour into a man and you build with him and you in the gym while he's shooting, because you ain't shooting no shots, but you in the gym while he's shooting. It's different. It's different. Or you can be a boss bitch and go out there and fight for yours, and then go out here and compete with somebody like me. It's up to you. Let me read a few of the super chats, and then we're going to get back into the show. Oh, yeah, that's Anton. That's Anton. He's such a toxic person. I can't wait for Rita to leave him. And Rita be looking like, look at them dusty hoes over there. Struggling. Tiffany, didn't I tell you to did you DM me, Tiffany? Hold on, let me get a little distracted before I read the super chats. Did you send me that DM, Tiffany? I need to know. I want to know what your business is like. All right. Shout out to Tiffany's content. Tiffany. DM me. Oh, you did DM me? Let me check that real quick. Anyways, Tiffany, I'll check that shortly. Hey, send me another DM so I can make sure that it's at the top of the list. Let me read some of these super chats and then we're gonna kick it real quick. Michael says, would invest in UPS. Would you invest in a UPS stock? I am not interested in investing in UPS stock. I don't know enough about the company. Look at this simp. Big Suggs, why you simping? Stop simping, Big Suggs. Stop simping. Shout out to my dog, Michael. I wouldn't invest in it. I'd have to do a little bit more research in it. J Hub says, and her son, Pookie, is out here running in the streets. Cassandra Powell. What up, Cassandra? Says, I did dispatching for 1 month and the loads are trash. I stopped dispatching because the brokers and loads were horrible. Shout out to you, Cassandra. Hold on. Let me see what we got going on. Hey, Cassandra, send me a message so I can see. I want you to tell me about the loads. Send me a message, Cassandra. Put you at the top of the list. We'll be able to have a conversation. Shout out to Cassandra Powell. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love beautiful people. Levite Apparel says, Anton for girl and wife fact. Shout out to Levi Apparel. I appreciate you. Trucking Blueprint says, been in trucking for 17 years. The problem was people got into the field of work based off of what someone told them instead of doing the research. We still eating out in the building. Shout out to you, my friend. I appreciate you, Trucking Blueprint. Thank you for giving us the insight. I got one more super chat I think that I want to tap into. Says, Messy mathematician. What's the problem? Says Anton, salute Anton. If you had to pick one stock to buy today that you would hold on to for the next 10 years, would you buy Tesla or Rivian stock today? I would probably buy Tesla, to be honest with you. I would probably buy Tesla. I am a stockholder in both, though. Just full disclosure. I own both Rivian and I own Tesla, so that's neither here nor there. Shout out to my dog, Ash. Hold on. Ash is in the building, says, trucking ain't easy. Drove from Waco, Texas to Fayetteville to deliver a fully loaded trailer. I live in my truck and home on the weekends. I drive for the top, number 12 top U.S. trucking company. Upon retirement, I was offered a nice pay with a veterans package. He telling you. My attention span is longer, Messy. I just like to interact with the chat. He's telling you, my dog Ash with the 100 ball is literally telling you what it's like out here in these streets. He said, listen, I'm on the road. And you know what's so funny? Most men are literally on the road on a regular basis. Where real men in most instances come from in yesteryear, they wasn't home with y'all every night. They wasn't up under y'all. They was working, they was grinding, they was hustling, and you might have seen them once a month or on the weekends. But you didn't really get an opportunity to be able to see people like that. Shout out to Ash. I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you for holding me down. Let me also give a shout out to Joshua. Joshua Means is in the building. Shout out to Joshua. I appreciate you. Thank you for holding me down, my friend. Let's continue. Let me check my DMs really. Well, let me go on to this next thing, right? We're going to stay on trucking for a minute. Because y'all are also facing another existential threat, a long-term threat, though. A long-term threat. Y'all facing another existential threat. Let's get into it. Let me check my DMs, though, too. Check my DMs while we get into it.
Industry has been sort of racing to have enough capacity.
CNBC went behind the scenes with Aurora to see its self-driving operation in Texas.
We've driven right around about 500,000 miles pulling loads for customers. I think we're over 1,800 trailers delivered.
It has been a challenging road for self-driving trucks, with several startups throwing in the towel. The technology has taken far longer to realize than initially anticipated.
Part of the reason why it's difficult and this is one of the reasons why I like to invest in like the Teslas and stuff like that, is because, again, these companies are more than just manufacturers. They're also technology companies. And so what you're seeing from Tesla is, and Aurora is a very similar situation. What you're seeing from Tesla, though, specifically, is that they're now starting to have other car manufacturers partner with them in order to license the infrastructure that they built in the actual charging stations, but B, they're also trying to innovate while being profitable on the things that they're making money from. They're trying to innovate the possibility of starting to move into a driverless future. Now, I don't believe that this future is as right around the corner as everybody else thinks. And let me tell you why. And I'm looking at it from a business perspective, right? The reason why this technology is not as right around the corner as everybody else thinks is because they still have to vet out the technology, and so they're still building upon the technology. But B, we're also having to need the infrastructure updates, which is why Biden didn't pass the infrastructure bill, because our legislative branches is slow to then adopt the infrastructure updates that we need in order to make the technology viable. We need better roads. We need more technology on these roads. We need a lot of different things in order to get this stuff. We even need we need for them to pass certain bills in order for us to be able to adopt this technology and have these things on the road, right? And so when you're talking about technology, it can only move as fast as our federal government, which is one of the reasons why a lot of these other countries is kicking our ass. When you're talking about technology, but they're still going to continue to make the investment, and eventually they're going to get to a point to where one of them is going to have a breakthrough. Tesla is already shipping out a lot of these trucks over to Pepsi and Cheeto and Frito-Lay, and a lot of these different companies have already ordered a ton of these trucks. Walmart has ordered a bunch of Tesla trucks, but they're anticipating the possibility of being able to remove human error, and then drivers as far as how much it's going to cost for them to continue to move loads back and forth. And so not only are truckers having to face the ups and the downs of what it takes in order to be a trucker, and people flooding the market and TikTok continuing to fuck up y'all bag, but they're also going to have to contend with long term. And again, I don't think that this is going to be something that you have to fight for and deal with today, tomorrow, 2 years from now, even 5 years from now. But going forward into the future, when you're talking about long term, and a lot of these people are 20 and 30 years old, and so you have a lot more time before you get to the point to where you can retire, even if you're not actually investing in your own future and your retirement and your savings and assets and all of this other type of stuff. You better believe that this technology is coming, and it is going to be a part of your future as far as automation, driverless technology, artificial intelligence. It is going to be another factor when it comes to replacing human beings. Absolutely.
And even as driverless cars hit the roads, it is yet to be seen how well they'll function in the wild.
Across the industry, many folks expect that it will take a couple of years before we'll even see point-to-point deliveries without the help of engineering talent.
I think it's tremendous opportunities for driver assist and improved safety.
Somebody said, I don't think you're factoring in how fast AI will speed up tech. It doesn't matter how fast it'll speed it up. It has everything to do with how fast we can implement it, or we can make it legal for it to be implemented across our roads. You're only as good as, and as fast as, and as effective as what law allows for you to be able to do. Listen, we have the money, the resources, the builders. We have everything. I did a live stream over the weekend where I broke down what my anticipated timeline in order to be able to get this house up, this single family home that we build in this rental property as soon as possible. We still fucking pulling permits. We are almost $11,000, and I showed the receipts inside of the Patreon. We are almost $11,000. I went by the house yesterday. They had everything staked out. The surveyor, the civil engineers, the architect, everybody is doing a job. We're hoping to get everything approved so that we can start breaking ground while we're in Japan. Everything is staked out. It's taken us over 3 months to get everything done and being able to get it all up and running. Why? Because we're dealing with cities, governments, and that's just on a small microscopic scale of building a house from scratch. When you're talking about infrastructure, when you're talking about these bills that's been passed a year ago, 2 years ago, as far as what it is that people are trying to anticipate is coming, when you're talking about lobbying, when you're talking about legislature, when you're talking about your mayor, your president, Congress, House of Representatives, when you're talking about all of these people playing a role in when technology is going to be implemented, it has nothing to do with whether or not artificial intelligence can speed up the technology. It still doesn't determine when these trucks is going to be on the road, right? So when you're talking about it, you also have to take into consideration every other factor that goes into it. I'm just telling you.
Driver fatigue, but I cannot see 80,000-pound trucks in my lifetime running up and down the road just as harmless, gentle giants.
You can get a ride in a self-driving vehicle in San Francisco. You can get one in Phoenix. We're on the road pulling loads for customers every day. This will be the next transformation in that space, and it's going to make it easier to get around. It's going to make it safer to get around.
Aurora was founded in 2017 by several self-driving industry experts. Sterling
What's up,
Anderson,
Azriel? Where
who
you been at?
previously headed Tesla's autopilot division, Drew Bagnell, who led perception and autonomy at Uber, and Chris Urmson, who helped start
Reading
and
Super
led
Chat
Waymo
shortly.
at Google.
We're on the mission to deliver the benefits of self-driving technology safely, quickly, and broadly.
In 2020, it acquired Uber's self-driving unit and received a $400 million investment in exchange for 26% of the combined company. Aurora plans to work together with Uber for ride-hailing of its self-driving cars.
Uber and Dara, they want to focus on building the network. How do you connect people with the means to get where they want to go? We want to focus on building the driver. And so for both of us, as we talked about the deal, it just made too much sense not to do.
The following year, Aurora went public through a SPAC, raising $2 billion. The company spent the first few years working on autonomy for cars, but had its eye on trucking as well.
Cars are a lot easier to operate, but we knew that the software and the system was ultimately going to have to work on trucks as well. We saw that as a huge opportunity, and so we designed that in.
I want to get into the challenges. I don't really care about this other stuff.
And we were going to work with our customers to figure out where's the most useful.
Driving trucks closed up shop in 2020. Embark, another early entrant focused on trucks, laid off 70% of its staff earlier this year, eventually selling its technology to Applied Intuition for $71 million. And driver is a challenging profession with high turnover.
The average truck driver in the US 20 years ago was 35. 10 years ago it was 45. Now it's 55.
The driver shortage has been talked about forever, but it's really a retention problem because every year there's 450,000 new CDLs.
So they're basically telling you that here's the challenges. You got to be able to skip through this stuff in order to get to the meat. The challenges are this. A, they want to solve for the possibility of having all of this turnover every single year. I just did a report, not yesterday, but late last week, where basically they said that driver turnover and retention basically is at about 100%. Meaning for every single person that you can get to jump in a truck, you're going to get a whole nother person by the next year. The retention is absolutely abysmal. It is probably the worst industry when it comes to retention and maintaining and holding on to people. And so the problem that in most situations is, A, you got to solve for people. B, you got to make enough money in order to sustain the technology long enough for it to develop to the point to where you can implement it and get rid of the people, right? C, you got to continuously find investors. And then D, driver shortages. There are no driver shortages. The only thing that they're having problems with is maintaining and retaining drivers, right? And so technology is going to continue to go through their problems. You're going to still have to deal with legislative branches and all of that other type of stuff, unless you can find a company to do both, meaning being able to sustain a level of profitability while continuing to invest in its future, in which there will always be somebody that continues to innovate. Those are the challenges, and that is what the industry is coming to, which is one of the reasons I personally do not think that this is something that's going to be implemented within the next 5 years. But 10 years and out, all I'm telling y'all is this. I love my truck drivers. I'm sure there will always be a market for you, but it is going to drive the price down once it's implemented, because the longer that they keep technology into existence, the more they can drive the cost down. And I would get a backup plan and start investing in yourself so that you don't have to be interdependent on the industry in order for you to survive. Let me read the super chats and then we're going to move over, or we're going to move on. I'm going to check my DM shortly. Shout out to y'all. Bearded Dapper Services says, what up, my brother? Last night and the past few nights have been special. Keep rocking, B. We see you, son. Shout out to you, son. Shout out to you, B. Shout out to the Bearded Dapper Services. This is the Grandmaster, Mr. Doe from the BK. Hey, send me some beard products, fam. You know who I am. Send it to me. Mr. Hylel says another issue is you have to take human drivers off the road. That is true. That is very, very true. I agree with you. Shout out to the Bearded Dapper Services. My address for you to be able to send that to me. Let me check that out. See what we doing. See if we can figure something out, big dog. Mr. Lone Star said those autonomous trucks took a big hit when they started having malfunctions that caused accidents and their stocks plunged. Shout out to Mr. Lone Star. Junior VK says we have to get these boomers out of office. Not gonna happen. What? Think about it. Why would I ever run for office? What would be the incentive for somebody like me or you that make an egregious amount of money to run for office? Especially after I've talked to some of the people that's been in legislatures, such as Kwame Kilpatrick and Eric Mays and all of that, and they told me what the red tape is and the politics and pleasing people. I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for that. Anyways, I wanted to end this off with a good note. Somebody sent this to me, and I anticipated breaking this down yesterday, but I guess I'm going to have to break it down today. And so this was a woman that basically has a $3 million business, I'm assuming, by the age of 32. And I want to see how she did it. So make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
One of the most intense feelings that I've struggled with as a business owner is the feeling of isolation and feeling like this is all on me. There's nobody else that can help me with this. Like, I have to figure it out.
Do you see all your Wayfair stuff is shipping?
Thank you, appreciate it. Ultimately, at the end of the day, so many people's livelihoods are dependent on Be Still Getaways. At times it's been a challenging thing to sit with, but it's motivated me, it's given me fire, like keep going because you have to. My name is Jamie Stark Inlow, I'm 32 years old and I own a property management and design company called Be Still Getaways.
Would y'all marry a woman that's as driven as this? Would you guys marry a woman? She owns a property management company and I forgot what the other name of the business is. Would y'all marry a woman like this that is this driven and this successful? I'm curious. Would any guy actually care about it and would they marry a woman like this?
We're on track to bring in $3 million for this year.
Who is we? I don't even know what Afton, Virginia is. So they manage over 120 rental properties, 6 of which are commercial motels or inns, and 2 wedding venues. Okay, so she owns, a lot of y'all are saying yes. Some of y'all saying depends. Why not? Hell yes. Nope. Shout out to all of y'all, right? A lot of y'all saying that y'all would. So Be Still Getaways is a property management company, apparently, that manages over 120 rental properties, 6 which are commercial motels or inns, and 2 wedding venues. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Company handles property maintenance, hospitality, listing
Basically,
assistance,
we are
and more.
a one-stop shop for someone with a short-term rental that's like, I would like to purchase real estate for a short-term rental, but I don't necessarily want to be in the trenches really at all because it's a whole production. Prior to starting Be Still Getaways, I worked in higher education. I was a student program director and I really enjoyed my work. After getting pregnant and having my son, 9 to 5 definitely was not cohesive to our lives anymore. I was dropping my son off really early at daycare, picking him up late, and I was like, this is just not what I pictured for my life.
Let me say this, bro. Let me zoom in real quick. I just want to see something really quickly. Y'all kids don't really be that cute, in my opinion. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but white babies be looking different to me. Is it just me? Or am I just easily distracted? Should I just continue to move on? White babies be looking weird. They be having weird haircuts or something. Their heads be bigger than their bodies. It seemed like it take them longer to be able to grow into themselves or something like that. These white babies be looking weird as fuck to me. And that's just me. That's just me. Like, everybody's baby ain't all of that. Everybody's kid ain't cute. All of y'all baby pictures don't be popping. I'm just saying. Them kids be having some big heads, some wide cheeks. And I'll be like, yo, everybody's kid is just not popping. And I know it's not the politically correct thing to say, but this is my thoughts. These are the things that go through my head. When I be watching stuff, the things that I get distracted by, I be like, damn, that baby got a big head. Oh, let me tell you the type of person that I am. I'm the type of person that when you ain't looking, I will give your kid the finger. I promise you. No fucking lie. You be thinking that your kid cute and your kid be like, oh, hi. And I'll be like, Then the kid be like, mama don't know. Daddy don't know. I just gave your kid the finger behind your back. Yeah, you listen. Watch your kids. You don't know what people are doing behind your back. Watch your kids. I'm just giving them an early taste of what the real world is going to deal with. You know what I'm saying? The world is going to whoop your kid ass. The world is going to whoop your kid's ass. I'm going to be reading these super chats shortly. I will give your baby the motherfucking finger in 5 minutes. They don't know what it mean anyway. Next thing you know, you getting home and your baby like, Mommy. You're like, where you get that from? Is your hands broken? No, it's that black man that had on them glasses. He gave me the finger when I was younger, and now I can't stop cussing. All right, let's get back into the show. Fuck them kids. Fuck your kids. I don't give a fuck about your kids. You should have. No, listen, if they could see a man in a dress walking into the same bathroom while they getting changed, they can see me giving them the finger. That's my philosophy. If they can see a man walking in a dress and we calling this shit normal and they not traumatized by it, is no reason why they should get traumatized by how my fingers is moving around. Yeah. If it's cool for them to see a grown man with a crop top switching in front of them, then it's also cool for me to give your baby the finger because why not? It's fun. That's how I feel. I'm feeling fingerish today. All right.
Like, this is just not what I pictured for my life. So my husband
That's how my
and I,
mind
we
works.
ended up selling our home, moving back to Virginia.
Look at that baby.
We purchased a mini.
Look at that baby. That baby is not it. Hold on. Why is the knee? Why did that baby got 76-year-old knees? Why is this baby the Benjamin Button baby? Why this baby got Benjamin Button knees is all I'm saying. And why is they knock needed? They need to get that checked out, honestly. They need to get that checked out.
Farm in Scottsville, Virginia. Our neighbors had a sheep farm and they had a beautiful barn. And I can't remember why, but I had gone through the home above their barn. It was finished very beautifully. And I was like, this could be an Airbnb.
Sorry, Messy.
So from there, I wrote a business plan to my neighbor. I asked him to give me $2,000 to furnish the barn. We drove all over the state of Virginia doing Facebook.
Swear to God, that baby looked like it didn't walk about 76 miles a day. That baby been walking. That baby done been here before, and they did not reincarnate their knees. That baby got the same knees that they had when they reincarnated it. All right, let's focus. Let's try to understand. Let's focus. Let's try to understand how this woman has built a $3 million business. Let's not focus on this fucking baby's knees, all right?
Book marketplace pickups. We furnished the barn. I listed it, and then I managed the unit from there. I dove into branding and creating a website, and when I started the barn, I was like, this is it. I want to do property management for short-term rentals.
Property management is incredibly hard. Property management is incredibly hard. I know people that have a property management company and they deal with some stuff, man. Some stuff. I'll break it down for y'all in a minute. Fuck that baby's knees.
Sales grew so much in the past few years. We certainly have different levels of luxury now that, 2022 brought some really.
All right, so let's look at this. She went from less than 10,000 in 2019, 15,000 in 2020. Shout out to y'all. I'm gonna be reading that super chat shortly. 200,000, which is like a shit. What's that? A 1,300% growth And then she got a 1,000% growth from 2021 to 2022 from $1.9 million in sales. All right, let me break this down.
We really upscaled properties into our inventory, which was exciting.
I'm trying to see how she jumped so much within over 2 years. Bills for other services like outfitting, maintenance, and more.
So property management obviously comes with a lot of different expenses. Definitely the things that we spend the most money on are number one, wage.
The reason why a lot of people are trying to figure out how to drive the human aspect of it out of this whole thing is because the largest expense for the overwhelming majority of your businesses is not going to be technology. It has nothing to do with rent. It's not going to be taxes. Your largest expense, and 99% of any business that you start or get into is going to be wages and the human factor, the human aspect of it. If you can figure out how to get into a business or drive out the possibility of what it takes in order to continue to maintain a relationship with somebody that you have to hire in order to do their job, I'm telling you, wages, employees, and people is like 75-80% of your costs in every single business that you can do, which is why the industry, whether you in trucking, whether you in e-commerce or you have a brick and mortar store moving over into e-commerce, whether you're a content, I'm telling you, the majority of what you're going to run into is the people. That's going to be your biggest cost. Now, that is the reason why they're trying to drive out humans. Whether it's the wages that UPS have to pay based off of what it is that they just ratified when it came to a contract with its workers, what UAW is asking for, truckers, as far as them complaining and saying we need to be able to have a livable wage, to all the way to the people that work at McDonald's and they saying, listen, $15 an hour ain't enough no more because we need to have a livable wage. And so now you're starting to see automats pop up. I'm going to be over in Japan researching it, and I'm going to bring that information back to y'all over here in the Bag Chasers. Shout out to the people that's in the Patreon, right? When you go into any business and establishment now, is kiosks, right? I just read seen an article where they're using palm scanners in order to pay for stuff. Now, some things you're not going to be able to take the human element out, or we haven't solved for it at least yet. But if we can remove the possibility of having to deal with humans, then you remove 75% of the costs associated with the business, and you can run that shit effectively. But you see hers. Wages is like 75%, maybe a little bit more. She's paying $439,000. Now, remember, guys, she's doing $2 million in revenue, a little over $2 million, $1.9, $2 million in revenue, and her biggest expense is wages. 2022 expenses, let me rewind it really quickly. Costs $2 million. Now, some people will look at this and say, well, you still have $1.5 million, 1.4, 1.3, 1.4, $1.5 million in potential profit after the expenses is taken out. First of all, I don't think that she got enough expenses in there. She need to make sure that she gets some more expenses in there for whatever reason. I'm not going to talk about it. But the other part of the conversation is, let me look at this really quickly. You drive out all of those expenses. Supplies is $113,000. You can't control that. Software, if you can increase the software up to $100,000 and then you can drive out another $300,000 out of the wages, maybe that would be great. Company car is $7,500 in 2022, which means that that's the car in which they either lease or bought for whatever it is that they're doing from a business perspective. And the warehouse rent, where they store the majority of their supplies that they're using, as far as that $113,000 is $4,000 a year, which is the equivalent of $75 a month. And wages is the big one.
For staff before I ever paid a dime to myself, and that's how it had to be. And I knew that from the beginning. I was like, I want to instill in my team a company where they feel valued, where they feel paid well, and where they don't want to leave.
Employee benefits starting in 2023, which will include healthcare coverage. Oh, heck no. Get you some contractors, let them contract out their company in order for you to be able to run that shit up, and you pay them as contractors. Fuck that employee stuff.
Supplies are also up there. I would probably put this as our second most costly line item. This would include all of the things that you need in your short-term rental: paper products, dishwasher pods, laundry detergent, makeup remover cloths, toothpaste, those little things that you need in a quality short-term rental.
Here's the key in order to be successful when it comes to anything is margins. It's always margins. It's the reason why the restaurant business is so difficult, because the margins are very, very thin considering the cost to do business. The employees, the cost of food, it's always fluctuating, going up and down. The actual brick and mortar location, the insurance, the taxes, the equipment, the repairs, the utilities, all of that stuff factors in. And so if you can increase your margins by either increasing the amount that you're able to charge or drive out the cost of whatever it costs to do business, that's how you increase your profitability in the business, which is, again, another reason why they're trying to get rid of the humans aspect of it. How do they got a 4,000 square foot warehouse when they're only paying $4,000 a year?
Last year, about this time, there was a warehouse opportunity here in the town that I live in. And so we signed a lease, and that absolutely changed our lives. To have a point place where we could ship all supplies, so 120 doors worth of supplies, not to mention all of the outfits that we do. We have about 4,000 square feet, and right now it is completely full of furniture for about 3 different properties, as well as all of our supplies for all of our units, where our inventory coordinator is just able to go, pull what she needs for a unit, and take.
And why do they need furniture and stuff? Because people come in and they fuck up your stuff. They tear up your place, they tear up your couches, they mess up the beds, they do all kind of crazy stuff inside of whatever it is that you got going on. They tear up the TV, they have parties, they scratch up the furniture, they do all of this type of stuff. And so as a result, that's an additional cost that comes along with doing business.
Take it to whatever property is running low. I worked for almost 3 years working my higher education job as well as operating Be Still Getaways. So I started matching my salary. I was like, okay, if I'm comfortable for a year where I can pay my salary with Be Still Getaways, then I feel like I can quit my job.
This is the thing that people never take into consideration a lot of times when they're having this conversation, right? Is that in our culture, a lot of times we say, hey, just quit your job. But I often tell people that if you love it enough, then do both until you get comfortable enough to actually run it and you can sustain your lifestyle or you can pay yourself. And then that's when you determine whether or not you want to quit your job or not based off of your capacity and your schedule. A lot of people say, hey, just quit and just go for it and all this other type of stuff. I don't believe in that. I believe that you can mine out whether or not it's going to be a viable business prior to quitting your job. And then that's when you make the transition over into whatever it is that you wanted to get into. Most people just want to quit their job and they just want to jump off the bridge and all that stuff. I'm saying that you shouldn't do that. You should be a little bit more careful with how it is that you manage your finances and then set yourself up. And if it's that meaningful to you, then run it as a second business or run it as a second job. Lower the amount of time that you dedicating and allocating into the position that you have going on. And then that's when you then start to transition over into your business if you just want to do that full time. So she pays herself $72,000 a year, which that's what she then pays her personal taxes on. And I'm assuming that she has a corporation in which the business is its own entity in which it pays its own taxes. So she pays herself out of the business money, and then the business itself pays its own taxes to the IRS because basically it has its own technically social security number, tax ID number, EIN, all of that stuff.
Husband also recently quit his job. He was an educator, and he is actually our full-time lawn maintenance man. So he literally 50 hours a week mows grass, which he really enjoys. He listens to podcasts.
So her husband probably be listening to my podcast. And this is also a common misconception about people that think that they bosses. A lot of people think that you quit your job and then you work less hours, but ultimately you work more hours. You work harder for yourself than you do for other people. So if you are not considered a go-getter, if you're not the type of person that can wake up on your own, if you don't need PTOs, right? You often at times work much. You put in way more work, and it can be rewarding and satisfying. A lot of times that it's not, because people don't always make profit. They just be working a lot harder and they making a lot less money. And so you have to determine whether some of y'all can't even get up in time when y'all was working from home during the pandemic in order to make the meeting that y'all was supposed to make. And all you had to do was cut the computer on. Some of y'all could not even wake up in time to attend the meeting that y'all was supposed to attend for your job, and all you had to do was cut your computer on. And so everybody is not built to be a business, run a business. Conversely, when you're talking about having a regular job, all right? But this dude be cutting grass for 50 hours a week. It's a lot of work, bro.
This line of work has been very good for him, and he fills in a lot of gaps that we didn't have before.
He doing snow. You see that? He doing snow? You see that? He brushing off snow. And here's the key. Because he is the maintenance guy, and he doing the grass, and he doing the snow, and he doing all of this stuff, guess what? You know how hard it is for these people to take a vacation? Most people that run their own businesses, they do not be flying all over the country, and they do not take vacations. Most people that is running their own business, I'm going to be realistic with y'all, they are not out here flying around the country and having a good time. They are grinding, because you can't just take off when you want to take off. It doesn't matter if you're in a hospital. Don't matter how your kids are sick. You got to get up there and you got to work that shit. It's just a fact. Ain't no PTO days, ain't no negotiating, ain't none of that, right? You got to get up no matter what.
We didn't have before. There are still days where I'm like, oh my gosh, what if? Because it's scary. It's a scary leap, but I'm so glad that I did it. And it was such a relief to be able to just devote 100% of my time.
Most business owners that I know work their ass off. They work relentlessly. They are not chilling. They not having a good time and all of that stuff. They push. They work 60, 70, 80 hours a week. I'm telling you, most people that I know is grinding.
To this company and ultimately continue to scale. Afton is
I don't care about that part. Let me see if there's anything else I can find this here.
Getaways obviously experienced an immense amount of growth, even through the pandemic and just over the past couple of years. It was truly like wildfire. We grew, we went from 2 to 10 to 20 to 40 to 60, and that happened so fast.
So the way that they was able to grow, now I get it, because I was trying to understand, well, how did she scale from, what was it, like 12,000 or it was like $15,000 a year to $200,000 a year to $2 million a year. And the way that she was able to scale is that she leveraged the profits that she had in order to buy out other business owners that no longer wanted to be in a property management business. But the way that she acquired them is by looking at the amount of properties that they had and how much value she can add to the value of her company. And so the way that she was able to grow is that she basically bought out other contracts, because you can say that she acquired another property management company, but realistically, she basically bought out contracts that this property management company had in order to manage an additional amount of units that they already had, right? And so she basically paid for them to be able to go out of business and then to be acquired by him. That's why she was able to grow it so quickly. And she's able to do it more effectively than them, obviously, which allows for her to actually add value into her company.
When we expanded into motels, that was when our team structure really was tested. Now, 2023 has had...
That's all women. You got her husband right there on the lawnmower at the bottom.
Went into motels, that was when our team...
It's her, her sister, her cousin, her auntie, Probably all of them people that was on the boat over there in Alabama. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. All women, all friends probably.
Structure really was tested. Now
2 more women, 1 man, and then her husband, and then 2 more
so
women.
many intense challenges. Our original team
Look at the husband's profile picture. Look at his description down there at the bottom.
has had so many intense challenges.
What that shit say? Head of lawn care. Everybody else got these long bios and profiles. His say head of lawn care, and he over there on a mower like this.
Challenges. Our original team structure it's not working. Like, we kind of need to tear it all down and start over. That is certainly the hardest part of scaling, is how do you keep your quality? How do you keep your team from being burnt out? How do you hire appropriately and make sure everyone's taken care of as you experience this immense scale? So that has been, I think, the thing I'm the most proud of in 2023. It definitely is my lowest point in business, and feeling like I don't know how to figure this out. I don't know how we're gonna do this. And just feeling my staff having so much weight on their shoulders. It was very challenging. And now, sitting here in July, to see us coming out on the other side is a relief.
So she started off a company. She went from working on her own job. She worked, she started her other business. And so she basically worked it until she could pay herself. And then she was able to expand the company by continuing to acquire other rental companies that then had contracts. And now she's trying to expand into other industries. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. I don't think her baby's knees can deal with whatever it is that her baby's knees is dealing with. I'll be giving that baby the finger. But that's just my personal thoughts. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Let me read some of these super chats really quickly. Aaron hit us with a few. Let me see what Aaron talking about. Said the innovation cycle, life cycle takes time. Some of the things I was working on in the research lab 20 years ago, y'all are just now hearing about publicly. Aaron also says, I like driven women. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Aaron also says, my son is handsome and he gets it from his daddy. Let's see what else Aaron says. Says, that's that baby Carly Russell song. My dog Ash, shout out to Ash, says, AB, you are correct. Self-driving trucks sound really cool. In reality, the eye test, the infrastructure is not here. And a lot of the delivery locations are legacy docks, congested locations, weather and road hazards, urban area, etc. Shout out to my dog Ash. I appreciate you. Yep. It's a lot of work. And so it's not coming anytime soon, but y'all still got to contend with each other and flooding the market. Wealth Building Journey says, we got to come back up to the front of the congregation time. Carly might have been telling the truth about that baby she saw on the side of the road. Shout out to that baby that was just in that live stream. Ash says, Carly saw that baby on the side of the highway. Y'all think that was the baby that Carly seen? Maybe the husband was the one on the lawnmower that didn't put the bit. No, let me stop. Shout out to Ash. I appreciate you. David Williams says, Anton Nancy Pelosi's net worth increased by $66 million in 2007. That's a great reason to get into politics. Chase that bag. Hello? I don't want to be in politics. Listen, the business world is already, and content creation is already, I don't know, this is just a nasty game. I don't want to be in politics, bro. I just can't see it right now. Who knows? I might change my mind like I'm changing my mind about possibly having another kid. Brock says, I knew you were going to have fun with this one. By the way, Carly Russell was just in the chat. She said, that's him. That's that baby. Y'all is wild. Y'all are wild. Listen, I love you guys. I appreciate you. I had an opportunity to really be able to cook up. The likes is still low, but I had an opportunity to be able to get into the money and deep dive into it. Ladies, truck driving is hard. White women, y'all babies' knees ain't what it is that they used to be. Shout out to all of my people that like to use women's bathrooms. I can't wait to do my social experiment when I get back. Yep. Banging on the doors. Checking to see if y'all still in the stall so I can go in and I can pee all over the toilet. It's going to be on. Listen, I love you guys. I appreciate you. Make sure you get that Teach Hanley. 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Also, make sure you tap into the Patreon. I'm dropping a Love Dorsey interview today or tomorrow morning before the show. It is going to be popping. And love. I just love everybody. I think that everybody is awesome and everybody is in love with the Millionaire Morning Show. Fantasy says, weren't you bragging about only having one kid? Yeah. On Monday, I was thinking about having another baby. I'm such a great fucking father. I'm such the prototype of what black men should be as far as leading a family to be successful. I did such a great job on my other daughter. Thinking to myself, I might have a level of responsibility that I need to implement out here in these streets in order to make sure, that I populate the earth with more Antons. Me. If anybody is interested in having another kid with me, also let me know, DM me. Anton Daniels 413@gmail.com. Send me an email. No, I'm just messing with y'all on that one. Listen, I'm not trying to pay no child support. Anton is not about that child support life. I am already at the finish line. Anyways, I love you guys. I appreciate you. I need y'all to do me one more favor I need y'all to do me two more favors before we get up out of here. I need you to hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, acting like you got some sense. Also, on top of that, I want you guys to make sure that you share this with your family and friends. If you did not see the show yesterday, go and rewatch it in its entirety on the Anton Daniels channel. The Q Show was awesome. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Shout out to y'all. I'm going to see y'all later. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Peace.